Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the the Originals podcast for the season premiere of Rebirth. Season 2, Episode 1, and I just broke the show because we had a football joke in pre-show. If you guys have no clue what's going on, you guys want to tune in live so you don't miss things like this.
Okay.
I'm your host, Dom. With me, I have my quarterback, Omikins.
Hi.
And our offensive lineman, Heather.
Don't talk to me. I don't want you to talk to me at all this entire show. I'm disowning you.
How are you ladies tonight?
Full.
Full. Full. Why are you full?
Because I had chicken and then I had a huge fucking pancake.
Pancakes? Those sound delicious. We should make pancakes.
Oh God, no.
So, for those of you that don't know Heather, she also does the Vampire Diaries podcast with us. You can catch her on Supernatural, filling in occasionally on Once Upon a Time, and also on The Walking Dead, starting
I also
this Sunday.
do Vampire Diaries.
I said that.
Okay, and I also fill in on occasion for American Horror Story.
Oh, that too. That too.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And I do Dead on Mondays.
Yes, exactly.
Yay, Walking Dead. Okay, I'm done.
So, Heather is very new to the Vampire Diaries universe, and including that would be the originals, which this was the first episode she's ever watched.
I don't know. I'm just gonna sit
Had
here.
how long? We even told you. And then we added 2 days onto that.
Dude, I also had all of Vampire Diaries, and
She did. She got 5. Well, she got 4.5 seasons of the Vampire Diaries in before the episode.
I mean,
so.
Dom gave me a huge list of, and then I should go into my papers or my files and show you. He actually mapped it out, so I knew every episode to watch once season 4 hit, so I could watch season 4 of Vampire Diaries and originals together.
Oh, okay.
Okay. By the time I got to that season, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I quit. I will figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. All right, so
Watch.
it's been a year now. Last year, the original made its debut, and people were very excited, but they were also kind of skeptical because spinoffs really hadn't been done properly before. Right? Mm-hmm. They've mainly failed. Had the occasional one, like Angel, would kind of take off, and
That's all because of one certain person. We all know
right.
that is.
So, like I said, there's the occasional ones that do well, right? This was kind of new territory still. Nobody really knew what to do. So a year later, here we are. What are you guys' opinions?
I think that the potential for the originals is still very, very high. There's a lot that can be done with this series.
Yeah.
For knowing the basis of the first season and having watched the last episode to kind of get a grasp at what was going on, and then seeing the beginning of this season, I'm not as into it as Vampire Diaries. But I'm sure that will change as this season starts to pick up, because I've only watched one episode of this, Well,
compare this episode, this premiere, to the Vampire Diaries premiere. Just those 2 episodes. Which one was better?
I like Vampire Diaries more.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot more action on this one.
There was a lot more action in this one, and I don't know. I think it's because I physically watched more of the Vampire Diaries and knew that story better. than I did the originals. So I think that really hindered it and gave me a really biased view on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. And especially the way you watched it when you skipped through and didn't watch the originals when it came out, because you go right from season 3 of dealing with the originals in the Vampire Diaries and then them telling you that they're leaving the show and you're just like, no! But then if you followed them like immediately after, you stayed with them the whole time. So it's kind of... It's interesting to get that opinion, though, where... you know, you have somebody who's not as familiar with them and see, you know, so I think that's a great opinion to bring to the show. Anyway, I was rather surprised to see Rebecca in any capacity this episode after last year that she stated that she was going to take some time off and stay with family and stuff like that. Do you think this ended up being like this big ploy to keep her appearances surprising, or do you think she's genuine that she's stepping away from acting for a bit?
You can't really know for sure.
Yeah.
It is possible that that little snippet was recorded when she was still... They could have just said, okay, if you're going, then record this now for us, please.
Yeah.
And she really is out of the show for a while. Don't know. I think if it comes down to it and we get to see the baby again, Rebecca will be the one bringing the baby back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's no way that baby's going to get here. I mean, I can't say no way, but it's highly improbable that that baby's going to get back without Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
So
we might see her again, for sure.
I know it wasn't a huge surprise to a lot of people because I know this scene was previewed at Comic-Con. I intentionally stayed away from it because I don't want actual physical spoilers. I don't mind if I read something about this character, this actor's coming into the show and it's supposed to play this character, and that stuff I usually look at, but direct scenes I stay away from. So it was a nice surprise. The opening of the show was a great surprise to me because Rebecca is my favorite character on this show. And unfortunately, she's not on the show.
That's... Okay, let me just make sure I've got that right. That's the one that has his kid, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the sister.
Yeah.
That's the one with the blonde hair in the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Rebecca.
See? I'm just making sure.
Yep. So then Klaus and Elijah, they've kind of remained tucked away for the last 4 months. More so Klaus, because you see Elijah's been making a couple endeavors, you know, out different places like that. Do you think them kind of waiting things out was a very effective plan?
Yeah, I got Francesca all riled up. She wanted blood, but she's like, I can't get it because Klaus won't come out.
Do you think that was intentional, that was going to rile her up, though? Or were they just trying to sell it, make it seem more realistic, and that happened to be a wonderful side effect?
Combination of the two. I think Elijah knew exactly what's going to happen. And, you know, Klaus wants just as much as revenge as the next person because of the, you know, because Francesca's just a twat. That's, you know, the only word I can use, really.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Yeah, he wanted to get back at her as much as she wants to get back. She actually, you know what? She just wants to get at him because she wants to rule the shit. And he just wants revenge because he doesn't have his daughter anymore, and she's the main reason.
Yeah. Hayley is, and Heather, Hayley is the...
Mom?
Yes, she's the mom.
See?
There you go. Haley's kind of also been floating around. She hasn't been staying in one place very long. It's mentioned by Elijah, oh, what, you've been here only 3 days this week? So she's not really staying in the compound either. You see her off at the werewolf encampment, where the aftermath of the bomb went off at the end of last season. But she had a lot of pent-up anger towards Francesca.
Good reason.
Were you surprised that she actually killed her?
No.
I know you were happy. And that's not what I'm asking. But were you surprised that she actually went through and killed her?
No. She's not a different person, but her makeup is different now. I mean, she could have easily just, you know, said, Francesca, get the hell out of town. I don't want to see your face again. And then I might kill you if she was still werewolf. But now she has a vampire side, and that's, you know, she's mad, and then, as Elijah was saying, your emotions, everything about you is going to be heightened.
Yeah.
And so that anger, she couldn't control that anger. She doesn't know how. Not yet. So that's why she ripped Francesca to shreds.
Now, we know she's a werewolf. She broke the bond, the sire bond to Klaus, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm starting to forget now of her role in the Vampire Diaries when she was first introduced.
She was just a random werewolf that was, with Tyler at one point when he was trying to break the Slayer bond in the first place.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if she was actually a wolf or not.
Yes, she was.
So she did trigger her curse, okay. Because I was curious if she hadn't, and she was just a girl with the werewolf gene, if now that she's a hybrid, if killing Francesca was going to trigger the curse. So I don't know, that would be interesting to see if somebody who has the werewolf gene is turned into a vampire at some point. And to see if killing somebody to feed or something would trigger the curse and make them a hybrid, or I don't know. That's kind of weird, but yeah. I don't think we'll ever get that answer at some point. But then we get to see Marcel for a little bit. And Heather, do you know who Marcel is?
Yeah, colored man.
Yes, I'm gonna quiz you through this whole thing.
The colored man.
Marcel's kind of been recruiting this almost invisible army, so to speak, right? It's this group of people, they don't know why they're there. He fills them in, but then he wipes all their memories, telling them if they can find their way back and know their purpose, that he's going to recruit them. How does he expect anybody to find their way back?
Compulsion is not, like, when you want to include a message in your compulsion, even though you're erasing memories, you can do that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a back thought, and it's always in your mind. And then once you start doing something that triggers it, you just kind of have to do it. And you just
it's the same as suppressed memories in normal people. Everybody has them. There are people who have half of their lives as a suppressed memory. And there are little tiny things that they will do or that will be said, smells, actions, tastes, that will trigger it. And they will automatically fall right back into that groove. And they'll follow right into it. So it's not completely unheard of to use something like that.
No, I liked when Josh was like, I bet on that biker chick. And he's like, yeah, whatever, Josh.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
And then she shows up at the end.
She did.
I was...
So, I have a question for you. Do you think because of this, because she's the first one that they've obviously seen, because Marcel seemed pretty surprised.
And this apparently has been going on for months, too. It's not like this is the first batch of people.
Is she going to play a bigger role than just a lackey?
Just a lackey? So you're saying, like, on the possibly lovers or something like that? Or...
Well, I mean, not a lover with Josh and not a lover with Marcel, but I mean, like, as far as, like, maybe she's just going to be one of those stronger ones that they come to rely on.
Well, I think Marcel needs to build up everything from the ground up right now, because he doesn't, like, at this stage when he's doing this, he doesn't have the backing of Klaus, Elijah, anything. He's on his own, right? He's got Cammy as kind of a go-between, and he's made bedfellows with her, but as we find out later in the episode, she doesn't want to do that anymore, right? So he really has nobody but Josh, and Josh doesn't even know why he wants to fight at this point. He's just there because he doesn't have a purpose. And Marcel's looking for people to kind of rebuild his empire, because he's exiled from the quarter, and all that stuff. He doesn't have the support of Klaus. But then, even after seeing Klaus come in, we have this, like, common goal that they need each other for, that they agree to work together. But I guess what it comes down to, before I can answer your question, is how long do you think the relationship between Klaus and Marcel is going to last?
Well, now that they have the werewolves out of the picture, and really they're just going to be cleaning up the witches now, which is going to be another interesting dynamic, but I think they still have a common goal, so until the witches are done, you're not going to know whether or not they're going to spread up or split apart or anything like that. They might just end up being like they were before the originals first left New Orleans.
Right.
A family.
So I can see this girl, we don't know her name, I don't think it was stated. I think she's going to kind of be what Tiari was to Marcel last season, where it's kind of his right-hand man, so to speak.
I don't know, I think Josh is kind of taking that spot right now.
Josh doesn't know why he wants to fight, and you can't have somebody in that big of a role without really understanding and feeling the reason to be there.
I think he understands more now. Because Marcel did have that speech that he, that pep talk that he gave to Josh saying, we're fighting for the people we love and, this is our home. And then the girl walked in. So I think Josh has a better idea of what that Marcel has been fighting for. So maybe Josh might be able to, make the connection, say, okay, well, I have Davina and I have all these other people that I care for that I would like to see, happy and, safe. So maybe he might understand now.
Yeah. It's possible. What were your impressions of her, Heather?
I have no idea. Like.
This is the first time we meet this character, so your impressions are as good as ours.
I don't even know. Like, it could go so many different ways on every angle. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to explain it because I don't even know.
I love putting people on the spot.
None of us know who this girl is. I mean, we heard a line. It's like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah, like, and you're telling me to go off of this.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I don't know. This is just, I mean, when you watched her in the beginning-ish, where they were all kind of grouped together, she stood out from the others. Yeah, maybe it's because she's just the only biker chick there, but the look on her face when she was there was even determined.
Right.
The others, some of them looked confused, some of them looked scared, some of them looked like, what the fuck am I even doing here? This is bullshit. What the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
She had this determined look on her face like, hey, this is kind of rad. I might be into something like this. Have a purpose. Maybe that's all she needs. I mean, somebody dressed like a biker like that is one of two things. Either a biker or somebody who's trying to fit in because they don't have anything else left.
Yeah. Which one do you place her under if you had to pick?
I'm going to go with that she's got nowhere else to go. She's at an end of a line. She needs meaning. She needs a purpose. And she's going to find it here.
That's exactly what Marcel was offering them in that speech in the very beginning.
Exactly. And that's why she came back, is because that's what she's been wanting. That was the trigger. That's what pulled her right back where she needed to be.
Yeah. And
there you go.
I'm very curious. It's a good answer.
Don't do that.
It's a good answer, so yeah, I'm going to keep doing it.
Never do that to me again.
What has me curious about the whole thing is how they go about picking these people to recruit them in the first place. We just see them show up, and we know they were recruited, but we don't know the steps that were taken to select them. Do they just go to a bar and compel the entire bar to come with them, or do they watch these people?
Maybe we'll see more.
Select them over time.
We'll see more because we know that Josh is in charge of it, and it seems like Josh is the only one Marcel has doing this for him. So
right. Maybe they throw an ad up in the paper or something. We don't know. It could be something that dumb. It really could. Show up at this abandoned warehouse at 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you would like to find purpose in your life. And then
there's cookies. Don't forget cookies.
We have what pancakes. You were looking for or something. We've been watching, do some Skyrim Dark Brotherhood shit. We know what you did.
Just slip messages under the door.
Exactly.
There's a whole bunch of stuff they could do.
Yeah.
Then, though this episode was, I think, more exciting than the first episode of the Vampire Diaries premiere, there still wasn't an incredible, overwhelming amount of action in this episode. It really boiled down to the build-up and the taking of the Moonlight rings. Right? Do you think having one really strong, impactful scene of, action, made the scene more meaningful, or do you think that they should throw more action into these episodes?
I mean, we're probably not going to see complete action like we did this time in a while because, Their main issue was to take care of those rings, just so Klaus wasn't a weakling anymore. Now that that's done, Klaus is back to normal, but there's a new problem. And I don't think it's going to be one episode and it's done. It's going to be probably most of the rest of the season. And that's where the action will be.
Big build up and have an overwhelming finale again?
Yes.
Finale. I still can't get over that finale. That was crazy. But then we see this like little discussion between Klaus and Elijah when the rings are being destroyed through what was it, the fire and the water kind of.
I think it was coals and then they added water on top of it.
Yeah. Where Elijah is like, Hayley really needs you now, and as much as I'd like to be there for her, you're the only one that feels the same way she does. And Klaus had kind of pushed her away all of last season and really only cared about the fact that she was the mother of his child, and just saw her more as like a vessel for the child than as a human being, as a mother, as anything. And we see him now consoling her. And it's like, I feel for you. And he even called her family. Right? And you just see, like, the look she has on her face or whatever. Do you see these two getting closer? Or, like...
They're coming to an understanding. I don't know if they're going to get any closer as far as, like, oh, let's get back together thing. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
You don't think they're going to try for another baby?
No.
No more babies.
No, I think...
You don't want a whole nother season of Hayley being pregnant again?
No.
She was pretty badass.
She was.
But I mean, no, I don't want to see her like that. No. No. The answer is no. Because I completely forgot what I was fucking talking about.
Whether or not they were going to get together again.
Oh, yeah. No. No, they're just going to, become closer.
Put her foot down.
Mutual friends are going to understand that, we have a child together, but...
You and Klaus have a child together?
I'm speaking Hayley right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, Hayley.
I'm done.
Now you know why I was saying that I was done with him at the beginning of the show. Because I know how it starts. He starts with one sentence, and it's almost the same sentence every single time. And as soon as you feed into that sentence, he keeps pushing until you're just like, I'm done with you.
I'm the best at it.
That's it. That's why I always just say I'm done before he even gets a chance to start.
So, do you think they're going to sit her down for Thanksgiving dinner with them? I mean, she's family now.
On Sunday? This Sunday.
This Sunday. Canadian Thanksgiving dinner in New Orleans.
Canadian Thanksgiving dinner is this weekend.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know.
Omi is Canadian, for those of you that are not aware of this at home.
I knew that. I just didn't know when the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like...
But do you think they're going to include her in, like, family activities? I was a little extreme when I meant, like, Thanksgiving, because I think it's...
Their family activities are going out and ripping out some throats.
Yeah, so is Hayley going to be included in these?
I don't think they're going to be like, hey, let's go skip through the squirts of blood and collect the fingers of our fallen foes together anytime soon.
She was badass at doing it.
I'm sure she was, but I don't think that they're going to be holding hands and frolicking anytime soon.
I mean, she took out Francesca, which was this huge rival that they dealt with the second half of last season.
Well, I mean...
Sad about that? That she did that? Or am I just misunderstanding something?
What?
The thing with Francesca.
What about the...
Francesca was introduced midway last season as, like, the human faction leader.
Okay.
And...
Is that the girl? Let me make sure I got this right. Is that the girl that was standing in the house?
Yes.
That big, bad, awesome hunk guy that I can't remember his name for the life of me.
With all the bodyguards.
Yeah, when he walked up and he was like, good thing a few days ago I made this into a public place that people could go for.
Elijah. When Elijah did that. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that was that girl.
Okay, so... Was it just me, or because I thought they were mad at her for offing that bitch?
No.
No, I don't think so.
That was me misunderstanding them.
Yeah.
No. Klaus was concerned that Elijah had let her go, and then he explained that Hayley's on the trail. And then Klaus was like, "Oh, okay, that's a done deal. I don't have to worry about that shit at all."
But she leveraged her way and she replaced the former human faction leader in town, and it turned out that she wasn't exactly human. She was a werewolf, and all her bodyguards and everything were werewolves, and they had the witches craft these moonlight rings for them to suppress their werewolf side, and use that as leverage to gain power and take control of the quarter. So something that Klaus and Elijah could not do last season, which was take her out, Hayley did in like one swift motion by herself in the middle of the highway.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that the bitch is kind of badass. Okay. I mean, I didn't really get a lot of her, but like she kind of seems off her fucking rocker just a tiny bit.
She's entitled because she not only
she's allowed to be.
She's, the heir of the Guerrero werewolves.
Stop
Whatever.
making
She's
fun
that.
of Hayley.
And then she owns a lot of the tourism in New Orleans, so she has a little buco in the background to support her.
Okay. Like,
So,
I'm just...
She's buying her way to the top at this point, and
Then Hayley comes along and just...
Yeah.
well, I mean, the reason why Elijah and Klaus couldn't, well, Klaus could have, but then, Elijah or anybody else couldn't go after her because she could just go wolf and take a bite and then they'd be dead.
I mean, Klaus couldn't really because of the moonlight rings.
Exactly.
Right?
Klaus seems to be a little bit out of it. I mean,
the
up
moonlight
until
rings
the
were
end.
tied
He's
to
back
Klaus,
now.
his power.
Yeah, until the end. I mean, when I saw him pick up the paintbrushes and start to paint, I was like, okay, now he's back to normal.
Yeah.
But before, I mean, like, I needed to see him when he took those paintbrushes and just flung them. I was like, okay, he's all right now.
Yeah.
We're okay.
But like that came down to the fact that these moonlight rings were drawing the life and the power out of him, and they were going into these other werewolves, so they were gaining his power every full moon, and he was just getting weaker and weaker.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying on that because I was a little confused about that.
Yeah. So every time one of the rings got chopped off or got recollected or whatever, you saw he was gaining his strength from the ring back, and like you saw like the camera and the scene and his whole body like he shook, and he's just like having to catch his grip for a minute there because all this power is sucked back into him.
Okay.
Then at the end of the episode, which is kind of my favorite part.
Before we get into that, we haven't even touched on Michael.
I know, but I was going to bring Michael up after this. I go a little bit out of order there. But so at the end of the episode, we learn that the second original brother that was killed, Cole, is actually alive and well. He's in the body of Caleb. That's the character's name. So Cole is in the body of Caleb. We have Finn in the body of Vincent, and we have Esther in the body of Cassie.
Pika. Is that Pikachu? Okay.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's
hi.
Pikachu.
I'm sorry, Steven was showing me something. Like some game. And he turns like Minecraft, but it's not Minecraft.
Yes.
And he like turns it around and he's like, look. And I'm like, is that Pikachu?
Esther is now Pikachu.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Continue.
So,
Damn you.
am I the only one that was excited to see Cole back?
Yeah, I didn't care.
You
You
I
feel the
can't
same way about Cole as the same as I feel about Crowley.
Oh, no, that's a little extreme. That's a little. I'm not gonna run up and molest Cole at a convention.
Hey, I said I would keep my paws off, and I would not do such a thing.
I'm just really excited that the original family is back together because, like, we have Esther, we have Cole, we have Finn, and now as we've seen, we have Michael back too. Like, he's still cooped up in the attic, right? Davina still has him locked up there. She's reveals this master plan that she's trying to unlink Klaus from the bloodline and like all this stuff to make him uninvincible.
Nope. She wants to unlink every one of her friends that are linked to Klaus's sire line. So it'd be like Marcel and Josh and whoever else.
Right. Because I'm not sure if Heather, if you're aware that the bloodlines from the originals are trickled down into every generation of vampire that are created from them. So
that's kind of just basic vampire lore.
Okay. I know it was introduced, I believe, in True Blood, right? That was the first time it was taught.
True Blood.
Right.
And if you ever read like Anne Rice and stuff like that, it was a huge factor in her Vampire Chronicles.
Right.
So I have seen that concept before, so I was kind of catching on to that.
But in True Blood, if you kill your maker,
yeah,
they don't. The rest of the line doesn't die. In the originals, that's the way it works. In Vampire Diaries, that's the way it works. You kill the original, the one that started that whole vampire line,
and everybody else
kill them all.
Okay.
Yeah. So if Klaus was to die, Marcel would die. Josh would die. Anybody that Marcel has created, anybody that Josh has created, and it just trickles down, and that entire bloodline of vampires is wiped out.
Elena would be dead. Kat would be dead.
Yeah. Elena, Damon, Stefan, like
Caroline, they'd all be dead.
Yeah. So it's really kind of it's a tricky issue when it comes to that. So if Davina is able to find a way to remove that and take that away from Klaus, it makes him more vulnerable, because as it stands right now, we know that no matter what happens, right? If this wasn't a storyline, we know that no matter what happens, Klaus is not going to die, because it would carry over and kill everybody from the other TV show. So we kind of have been safe knowing Klaus is never going to die. And now that they're bringing this storyline in, something that was established in the Vampire Diaries, to carry over now, is really awesome factor of the story. But now it makes Klaus, not that they're going to kill him, but it makes him more vulnerable to the fact that maybe they could.
That, and like, Davina could care less about Klaus. So once she frees all her friends, she's just going to let Michael loose and be like, do what you have to do, buddy. So there's that whole, like, she really don't care if Klaus is dead. That's why she's doing this first before she lets Michael go.
Right. Yep. You guys have anything else that you'd like to discuss, or Heather, if you're any questions about anything?
Does Heather have any nicknames for the characters?
Nothing. No, I didn't come up with any quirky nicknames this time. Like, I seriously tried to sit down and pay attention to it. Also, the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, I had to watch it twice, because I was really, 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 really out of it when I watched it the first time, because I'd just come back from the doctor. And apparently getting blood drawn on an empty stomach was a bad idea. So I missed out on making fun names.
So you're donating blood and watching the show?
I wasn't donating. I was not willingly donating blood. Thank you very much. It was not something that I had planned on doing.
No, I know.
I did not want to. It was more of, oh, hi, how are you? Well, everything looks great. By the way, we're taking like 3 vials of blood today. Don't worry, it's nothing big. You realize I didn't eat, know what that is. Right?
It's because
oh, you'll be fine.
It's because I compelled them. I was thirsty.
Oh my god, I was so pissed off.
These things happen. So any questions for this episode, Heather?
No, I'm good. I think we covered most of the stuff that I was concerned and questioning, because I was lost on a couple of things, like especially the stuff with Francesca and stuff, Yeah. But I think for the most part, I've got a clear grasp. I'm gonna need to watch another episode or two, just like I did with Vampire Diaries. Yep. I got through the episode this week, and I have a much firmer grasp, obviously, of what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
So I just need a couple more episodes.
That's good. Nikki, any final thoughts?
I'm just, I'm very curious to see what Esther has planned.
Yeah,
because
I'm very excited.
I'm also very curious what's going to happen when Esther and Michael meet faces. I think that might be the turning point where Esther runs tail and Michael actually goes after her instead of going after Klaus.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, no. You made my son this way. It's your fault. I'm going after you first before I go after him.
Now, my big question to you guys is, we know Esther's body has been consecrated, right? We know that Cole and Finn have actually died as vampires and their bodies have kind of been destroyed or whatever the case may be. Do you think we'll ever see them back in their original bodies, or are they going to be in these people's meat suits?
Meat suits.
It might come to a point where, they might switch off to different bodies. I mean, like, what's her face was doing last season? Elijah's lady friend.
Right.
She was hopping from...
Was she ever defeated? I don't even remember.
Yes.
She was?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds like a question. I don't remember if she body hopped again at the end.
I don't think she did.
Okay.
I think she got taken care of.
Okay. Anyway, next week, I don't know what the episode is called because I'm bad. But next week, guest star Nathaniel Buzalik, which we know as the original Cole, is coming back in a flashback in the 1700s. As tension between Elijah and Hayley grow, Klaus steps in and encourages her to regain her position within her werewolf pack. Still under Davina's control, Michael grows impatient while she attempts to uncover a spell that would protect those closest to her. When Elijah turns to Marcel to help in tracking down a vital piece of information, he is forced to remember a long time ago when they were on better terms. Meanwhile, Davina and Caleb find themselves in a dangerous situation where unexpected visitors show up and crash their dinner. Finally, Klaus grows suspicious after a meeting with Cassie doesn't go as he had planned. So, it seems like all kinds of chaos is going to be going on next episode, which is going to be good. But we know that Esther in the body of Cassie was working very close to Francesca, so we know she's kind of established herself in line with the different factions, at least the werewolf one. So if there's any stragglers that weren't wearing rings that may have survived, she may still be in control of them. We know that Finn in the body of Vincent befriends Cammy at the end of the episode. And we know that Cole in the body of Caleb has befriended Davina, and they kind of have all the major players covered, with the exception of
worming themselves in.
Yeah, with the exception of their siblings, brothers, sisters, Klaus and Elijah and Rebecca, who probably won't be back for a little bit. But the episode ends with them saying that they wanted to go introduce themselves back to their family. So I think it's going to be fairly soon that they're aware that their mother and siblings are back.
There might be like little ticks that Esther will be doing as they're having, their meeting, and Klaus, he's pretty perceptive. He might catch on to those and be like, okay, I don't like this. There's something up here. And he's probably going to be the first one to realize what the hell is going on, and he's probably going to be shitting in his pants.
Probably.
Much pants shitting will be had.
Exactly.
Much.
Yes. So I think that about wraps things up here. Omikins, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24. LadyYvenom.
Heather, where can the people find you?
Twitter, Olaris Olaris_RHEA.
Nice.
I think I misspelled my name.
You misspelled it?
I think.
She's like, I think I forgot how to spell this.
I don't know, I'll find out later.
You can find me down below at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+, and right here on YouTube. /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows.
And again.
And Coming up next, Heather will be doing a solo podcast about tonight or last Thursday's football game.
No, I'm gonna go play Alien Isolation.
I think I'm gonna go play stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play Alien and scream like a little bitch on Twitch.
Till next week.
I'm gonna watch.
See you guys later.
Bye.
He's like, I'm watching this. I was fucking flailing earlier. Every time I fucking turned around, I was getting shot, and then what are you showing me? What is that?
Hike.